know me well enough that I don't stay on script very often. But because we have some important information today, the team has said, Daryll, will you please stay on script? Because I believe that some of the people who are here today would like to have the information that is in your script. So look at me go. I don't like the reading as much as you will see today, but it's important for you. So I want to say thank you very much for being here this afternoon. For those who are in person and those who are virtually attending, I appreciate you being here. So my name is Daryll DeWald. I serve as the Vice President for Health Sciences for Washington State University. Also have the privilege of serving as Chancellor of the WSU Spokane campus. As Chancellor, I've been here 5 years, as VP 3 years. So I appreciate being part of this team. So I do want to honor and thank the original caretakers of the land. Let me go ahead and go to this so that you can read with me. And pardon me, but I am going to go ahead and read this as well. I wish to honor and thank the original caretakers of the land our campus calls home. Yesterday, we celebrated Indigenous Peoples Day, which WSU has been commemorating since 2018. I encourage you to take time this week to participate in the virtual events occurring around the system and celebrate the invaluable contributions of Indigenous individuals and the tribal communities within our state and our region. Therefore, we acknowledge the land on which WSU sits and occupies as the traditional homelands of the Spokane tribe of Indians. The university expresses its deepest respect for and gratitude towards these original and current caretakers of the region. As an academic community, we acknowledge our responsibility to establish and maintain relationships with these tribes and Native peoples in support of tribal sovereignty and the inclusion of their voices in teaching, research, and programming. One of the things that I think you should all be proud of is that you meet mission in this regard. You step up and you've committed yourself to, in fact, what we present right here. In addition, what I would like to do is I would like to thank you. I extend my thanks to each of you for your hard work and your commitment to the institution over the past several years. This has been an extraordinarily challenging time in higher education. The pandemic and the subsequent impact on our institution, our ways of working, and our communities continue to reverberate in our daily lives. I see today not only an opportunity to come together and celebrate the collective vision for WSU Spokane and the health sciences, but a chance to acknowledge the hard work of our community, of you. We are in an exciting place of growth as we serve the region and the state, carrying the land-grant mission forward through the health sciences. So I wish to extend my thank you to all of you for what you've done and you continue to do to engage with that vision. Also want to thank those who submitted questions in advance of today's town hall. We've done our best, and I will do my best to incorporate answers to the questions we received in my presentation today. However, I specifically want to call out a key theme that emerged. A number of you had questions regarding our strategies for recruiting and retaining faculty and staff on our campus and in our health sciences system. I want to speak to this directly and note that we are actively working to address salary inequities. I will share some information regarding WSU's legislative ask in this regard in a moment. However, I would ask that supervisors, and many of you are, would thoughtfully evaluate your employee pay within your unit and identify strategies to support retention. We will work with you on that. On a similar note, we are advocating for better access to tuition waivers for our WSU Spokane campus. Our current institutional tuition waiver structure requires that employees attend in-person classes, which, of course, limits the types of classes available to those in Spokane. We recognize this challenge and we are working to address it. I wanted to start the presentation today with some substance regarding the leadership updates. So taking a moment to welcome and acknowledge some of our new colleagues and to commend colleagues who have stepped up into additional roles over the past few months. I would like to acknowledge Dr. James Record. Dr. Record was appointed in June as interim dean with a 2-year appointment. We are waiting until after the LCME site visit before moving forward with our engagement with College of Medicine individuals, but I commit to that and will do so to hear from you in terms of how we move forward. I'd like to acknowledge Dr. Craig Parks. Currently, Craig Parks is serving in a 0.5 FTE role with us and with the Provost's office. We are honored to have Dr. Parks working with a lot of you on accreditation, academic programs, and policy. Further, I'd like to call out Dr. Celestina Barbosa-Leiker. Dr. Barbosa-Leiker has agreed to accept additional responsibilities, including faculty affairs, and will be Executive Vice Chancellor. Because Dr. Parks and Dr. Barbosa-Leiker's shifting roles and duties have expanded, there is no immediate plan to rehire the Vice Chancellor for Academic Affairs position. We've coordinated and collaborated with the colleges and we've heard from them. And for the time being, they would like a different structure. Further, the Vice Chancellor for Student Affairs position is currently open, and we are at the interview stage. A thank you to all those on the faculty and staff who've participated in this process, and we will be bringing several candidates to campus. Our campus in health sciences continues to evolve and grow as we expand our programs and meet the needs of both our community and our students. I anticipate that I will have the opportunity to share additional leadership updates in the coming months, so please stay tuned. One of the related questions that was submitted asked, are faculty and staff at WSUS being asked to join search committees for replacements, and what are the plans to replace and reorganize based on those departures? So the answer is yes, and we have asked a number of people, and we're appreciative of a number of people serving on those committees across the colleges. The plans for reorganization are in process right now. The way that we will do that is to continue to engage with college leadership and with institutional leadership regarding the positions that we move forward with, and we will communicate that with you. I'd like to take some time to talk with you about my goals. Many of you saw that I went ahead and extended a communication that highlighted some of the goals. These are very similar. They're not identical, so please don't try to pull them apart and say, well, I thought you said in your previously published set that this is what it is. So I'm asking you to receive the heart and the spirit of what we are trying to accomplish, and I use we there specifically. So I would like to thank the partners that have been involved in actually defining and refining these goals. And I'd like to articulate these, so bear with me as I read them so that we can work through them together. Number 1, I'm committed to collaborate with the Vice President for Government Relations, Colleen Kerr, the Vice President for Finance and Admin, Stacy Pearson, and Provost Elizabeth Chilton in the development and submission of operational and capital requests that are submitted to the state of Washington for programmatic support and expansion of our facilities. I'll talk with you specifically about what we have moved forward, but I'm going to go ahead and tell you that the health sciences is heavily represented in those requests. Second goal, facilitate the development of new academic degree programs and residency programs in the health sciences colleges. Here, like most of the roles I have, is a support and facilitative role for what is happening in the colleges. Currently, we have planned to deliver a number of new health sciences programs, including we will support the development and the initiation of the social work program. We will have a direct role in the public health programs where there will be 2 tracks, one that originates from Pullman and one that originates out of your colleges. Next, we're supporting the Bachelor of Sciences in Pharmaceutical and Medical Sciences, and we will move that forward. So if you have questions about those or other programs, please feel free to ask later. Goal 3, support the accreditation process for the colleges of medicine, nursing, and pharmacy and pharmaceutical sciences. All 3 colleges are undergoing important points in their accreditation processes. The following years will be critical to the long-term success of these programs. As most of you know, medicine and pharmacy, those site visits or virtual site visits are essentially underway right now. Nursing is a year off from the same. Next goal, collaborate with WSU leadership to model and implement a budget to sustain and grow the WSU Health Sciences statewide. More to come on that in this presentation. Next goal, plan and launch a comprehensive campaign plan for WSU Health Sciences in partnership with the WSU Foundation and the Health Sciences colleges. As many of you know, we are in the beginning phases of a $2 billion capital campaign, and that's what this refers to. The final goal, galvanize collaboration and partnerships with internal stakeholders, including other colleges and WSU Extension, and external stakeholders such as healthcare organizations and educational institutions. So what I'd like to do is tie some of the information that I provide you to those goals specifically. So let's go ahead and start with the legislative requests. So we have collaborated in the development and submission of the operational capital request to the state of Washington. WSU has requested $34.5 million in additional state contributions over the next 2 years for a 4% compensation increase for WSU faculty and staff the first year of the biennium and a 3% increase in the second year. Another legislative request, $4.4 million over 2 years to support the continued accreditation of the WSU College of Nursing, including granting salary increases to nurses and paying for equipment and enhancements. Many of you know that what we tried to do is move our nursing faculty to at least a 50th percentile compensation. There has been an effort centrally, one that we pushed for, that there would be one-time money delivered from Central that would provide the increase in the compensation to, again, a 50th percentile as per organizations here in state and out of state. That one-time funding needs to be supplanted with ongoing funding. Another request, articulate that the concerns regarding pay inequity and turnover are being heard and are integrated into the overall cost of living adjustments that were in the $34.5 million. Finally, several other requests for academic programs have been included, including the social work program and the public health program. So let me just touch on for a moment some of these programs in terms of the academic degree programs and the residency programs. So first is the Bachelor of Public Health. As I mentioned, that will be a program that is dually administered, and it will be here on this campus and in Pullman. Next is the Bachelor of Masters in Social Work. It will originate out of the Tri-Cities, but it will be embedded in the College of Nursing. A Bachelor of Science in Pharmaceutical and Medical Sciences. I have supported the movement forward of that degree program initiated by our College of Pharmacy and Pharmaceutical Sciences in collaboration with the College of Medicine. That will move forward to the Faculty Senate soon. The Pharmacy Residency Program, funded by the state in the last state request, and that's a cooperative program between our College of Pharmacy and Pharmaceutical Sciences and the University of Washington. In addition, the Pullman Regional Hospital Residency Program, that is the medical residency program that has been spearheaded and carried by the College of Medicine. Next is continued work with regional and statewide health organizations to continue to expand the medical residency programs. And while we can't provide details, tangible progress is being made by leadership in the College of Medicine and with support from myself, President Schultz, and others. In addition, in the request that we move forward to the state is we continue to look at opportunities to improve our physical structures here on campus. So with Eastern's move into the Catalyst building, we had the opportunity to re-envision one of the original campus buildings to meet the needs of our students and of our 3 colleges. Right now we're on track to open a renovated, what we call Phase 1, or in the past, Eastern Washington University Center. The Phase 1 building will reopen in 2023. The building will be the primary site for the College of Medicine's administrative and teaching activities and will have additional shared space for health sciences activities. The request that we made was $15 million to the state. It was a deviation from our plan, but what it allowed us to do is activate that building. It's over 100,000 square feet of usable space. We're still in the process of deconstructing and reconstructing. Medicine especially is speaking into what that building will be as we move forward. It's encouraging to me to see it. It provides an opportunity. Many of you know this, but our College of Medicine is in at least 7 different buildings across our campus. That's not a really good model for trying to build your unified team. So we're trying to rectify some of those challenges. So a question was submitted: what are the goals planned for updating and ensuring spaces are available for the new programs? Those new programs I talked about. That's part of the planning in that Phase 1 building. People have asked, shouldn't we give it a name? We are considering that. People have asked, okay, $15 million, I'm hearing it's costing just a little bit more to activate that. Yes. So we are actively engaged with folks to say, hey, maybe there's an opportunity for you to provide some resourcing and we can name that space. But we're trying to do it in a logical way because yes, there's a shortfall to fully activate the Phase 1 building, but we're working on that very actively. So I want to say again, thank you to many of you who are involved in that process. Another request that is currently under consideration is a team healthcare education building. Many of you know that the incarnation of this was originally what would be a virtual clinical space or a virtual hospital. It is the same. We're preparing learners, and this is what we hope for. Let me just give you the punchline. The punchline is that we're asking for $7 million in this biennium. We will then ask for an additional 30 in the next 2 biennia. But it's clear from my perspective that we need to be more aggressive in terms of garnering funding early for that. And we are already in conversations with potential individual donors and foundations regarding their interest in supporting the build of this unique building in our space. Further, the health systems are very interested in also partnering with us. And that building will need substantial programmatic support and the build out of the physical infrastructure. Since people have asked, I would say we're looking long term at least 60,000 square feet. What we would hope for is that we could build it in phases. It will be an opportunity for our colleges to fulfill their mission and focus on the interprofessional education. So that's what this building is about. It will highlight and emphasize the future collaborative and programmatic efforts that will address greater goals for healthcare. What we're looking at is contributing in our way to better healthcare providers, to learning to work in teams, but it is not us doing that in a vacuum. It is working closely with the health systems and they with us. They speak into what we do, we speak into what they do. A question was, what are the developmental plans to grow the interprofessional education curriculum to be fully funded and supported by the Spokane campus? I've already indicated to the deans, and we have begun this process, that the health sciences will assume more of the financial responsibility to support the interprofessional education program that comes out of the colleges and driven by the leaders in the colleges. What has happened is, I think each of the colleges has felt somewhat isolated in their ability to do this on their own, even though for all, there are accreditation standards that they're achieving through their curriculum. So we're supporting that activity. And part of that is with the building. So I wanted to mention that one of the things that I would thank you for is the continued academic excellence. So we commit to supporting the accreditation processes for the College of Medicine, Nursing, and Pharmacy and Pharmaceutical Sciences. This is, in fact, one of the drivers behind us bringing on board Dr. Parks. So Craig Parks has served as the institutional accreditation official for several years. He has a lot of experience with NWCCU, as do many of you and I, where he has served as the institutional officer. He thoroughly enjoys the detail of accreditation. I'm glad for folks like that. And he has really stepped up to work with not only Dr. Lead, Dr. Record, and Dr. Coythan, but others who are leading these efforts. That is why we brought him on board. So, as I've already mentioned, medicine and pharmacy, the lights are already turned on and people are sweating a bit, but nursing is next year. So thank you for your hard work in this space, because this is in fact where it takes the entire team. So now let's move into something that's super easy. So I stated in my goals to collaborate with WSU leadership to model and implement a budget to sustain and grow WSU Health Sciences statewide. Several of you asked questions. They were related to compensation or even the budget model. But I want to do something, and that is to communicate to you verbatim a draft communication that will come out of the President's office regarding where we are institutionally in a budget as context for any questions you might have or anything further that I would state. So bear with me, but here you go. I asked President Schultz, I said, Kirk, can I communicate this? And he said, absolutely. So this is approximately what will be communicated very soon. While budgets have been allocated for the current fiscal year, chancellors, in collaboration with the System Vice President for Finance and Administration, will be the primary budget decision makers for actions taken on each campus. The continued impacts of decreased enrollment are variable across our system. Let me stop for a second. So our enrollments are down about 13%. You could quickly do the calculus in terms of net tuition. That challenges us about $30 million a year. So that's a candid kind of calculus on what that means to our institution. One of the great things with President Schultz and VP Pearson is that they are committed to developing a better budget model, but also having reserves in place. We're healthy institutionally, more so than we were in the past. We have reserves. Back to the quote, and bear with me. And as such, each campus will have differing approaches to managing budget reductions. For FY 2024, we plan to utilize the same allocation process and compare the impacts with the new budget model run parallel. Again, chancellors will be responsible for allocating within their campus. Our situation is a little different. The vice president is actually the part of this role that has that responsibility. Next statement. Washington State University will be a smaller institution over the next several years as we bring in smaller classes and graduate larger classes than we did pre-pandemic. A footnote, transfers is where we're seeing the most negative impact in terms of our entering enrollment. Finishing this statement, building enrollment and retention of students and right-sizing budgets will be high priorities for all WSU campuses over the next several years. I'll borrow from Dr. Parks, who has said that a lot of the growth in terms of academic programs will in fact take place in the health sciences. Okay. Next, good stewardship during and after the pandemic has resulted in the restoration of core fund reserves to help the levels. These resources will provide one-time funds to assist with budget reductions. Additionally, units will also be able to utilize some portion of their carry forward. I won't make a joke, but I look forward to my next life when I am supporting an organization that has significant carry forward. I did that early in my career. That was a pretty cool deal. But here, because we're growing so quickly, our colleges don't have significant carry forwards. So units will also be able to, as I said, utilize some of the portions of their carry forwards to assist with budget management. More information on both of these will be forthcoming. Next, we plan on holding open a number of positions over the next several years as enrollment stabilizes and increases. I am going to add a little bit of a footnote here as well. We've had many positions open. It's been difficult to recruit and at times retain colleagues. That has been a natural offshoot of the pandemic and some of the challenges in the pandemic. Where it's been beneficial in some ways for our budget, it's been very challenging for many of you to be accepting additional responsibility. We are actively trying to hire into almost all of those positions, but we still do go through a fairly rigorous process of evaluation of the necessity of the positions. But we are actively hiring. So this has a little different nuance for us. Next, we will continue to aggressively pursue increased compensation for WSU employees and are seeking the 4% increase for the 2023-24 year and a 3% for the 24-25 year. Additionally, we will continue to seek compensation funds to close longtime faculty and staff equity gaps, for example, in nursing, but not isolated just to nursing. A question was, please explain the new budget model coming to 1WSU. Will it benefit the campus? Will it advance our Research One goals? This is a hybrid RCM model. Hybrid RCM models work best where you have stable systems that have potential for enrollment growth. There are some challenges with the health sciences. We are costly, but I would say not as costly as some might surmise across our system. We actually do produce a lot of revenues. But that RCM model, that hybrid RCM model, we will be actively speaking into how that model is refined and how it's rolled out in the next few years. We have no choice but to do so. Next, expanding our future investment. Pardon me. So the goal was to launch a comprehensive, or be involved in the launch of a comprehensive campaign plan for WSU Health Sciences. I'd like to acknowledge the role our advancement partnerships play in our long-term success. More and more institutions like ours turn to non-traditional funding that comes from donor organizations or individual donors. The deans, other leadership in our colleges are very activated to do this, and in fact, with their colleagues, have seen remarkable success over the last year or two, and we will move more deeply into that space. I'd like to highlight the extended collaboration with the foundation. We will be looking at restructure of our advancement team in the health sciences. We're in conversation with the deans about what that looks like, but what we're trying to bring is a team that works together, coordinates with each other, and is more effective. We have some outstanding colleagues on our advancement and foundation team. What we want to do is support them better and to provide the ability for them to work as a team better than we have in the past. So a question was, how will leadership and development for the campus and the three colleges in the WSU Health Sciences work together on key, large fundraising initiatives and work with major gift donors who are interested in supporting collaborative work? We're already doing this. You will see more of the results of this. My role is not to primarily fundraise for the health sciences. My role is primarily in this space to support the activities of the colleges. Secondarily, it is to support fundraising for the health sciences, but frankly, that's a distant second. Next is continuing collaborative partnerships. And bear with me, we're about to complete our little journey here. So I'd like to galvanize the collaboration and the partnerships with internal stakeholders, including colleges and WSU Extension, and external stakeholders such as healthcare organizations and educational institutions. Most of you live your lives as partners. You know how to do teamwork. You know how to build together. And part of what I have seen is that we have an opportunity as a growing health sciences enterprise to take our collective knowledge and our drive to work better with other partner organizations. I'll put it in another way. The great work you've done is magnetic, and we're seeing some of that magnetism show up because internal stakeholders are coming to us and saying, hey, can we please? External stakeholders in industry and the health systems are coming to the colleges, to us, and saying, we want to partner with you. Some examples of that. Providence Health System. We already have a very effective, and bravo to all involved, residency program in Everett. While that's a visible representation of the partnership, there are tons of other bridges and connections already built with Providence. Multicare, the same thing. We already have partnerships, not just collaborations. Collaborations are great work together. Partnerships are contractual great work together. In addition, the Gleason Institute benefits from the internal activities, but from Providence and St. Luke's rehabilitation and some of the terrific colleagues there who are drivers. Our Native American health sciences across the colleges and in the health sciences is getting so much national and sometimes even international request for participation and the step up of leadership across our nation. It's almost overwhelming. That's in part because of the way that we engage with the tribal nations in a government-to-government relationship where we have an understanding of our partnership with those tribal nations. Next is we've worked for years with the Spokane Teaching Health Clinic, and there's a lot of confusion around, well, what do we do over there? Let me be clear that we're responsible for that building. That building is something that is in our budget, but it's not just that. We drive the programming there. And more, we do that in close partnership with Providence. So the STHC leadership, including Tracy and others, have really taken steps toward what we are doing and want to engage. I know medicine and the other two colleges have stepped up to say, we need our learners in that space, and here's part of what we can provide. We continue to partner with higher ed partners, including Eastern Washington University. Yes, our relationship is in transition, but they are on our campus and we support their programs. The community colleges of Spokane, not only through articulation agreements that would be in the College of Nursing and in the College of Pharmacy, but in other areas. Whitworth, nursing, and other places. And yes, many of you might not like this. Some folks get a little exercised over this. We work very well with the University of Washington. But that's because of the great work you do, not necessarily because the institutions decided it's the best way to go. But I would call out that Anna-Marie Kelsey and Kirk Schultz interact with each other weekly, and there's a commitment to not cause any challenge to the other institution, but to find ways to help both institutions be better at what they do. So the last slide gives me an opportunity to just make a statement. Again, I thank you for joining us today, but I'd like to end by sharing one of my favorite quotes, and this is from Harry S. Truman. You do this. It's amazing what you can accomplish if you do not care who gets the credit. It's amazing what you can accomplish when you do not care who gets the credit. That's what you do. And you do it in just an awesome way. I want to once again acknowledge the extraordinary work that you have done as a team. I consider my role as a professional calling, where I have the privilege of investing in students, faculty, and staff across our health sciences and across our institution, which I hope leads to better health and wellness for Washingtonians and beyond. So thank you for joining today. Again, I issued the early apology for reading as much of this. I did stay on script for the most part, and I appreciate you being here. I think that we'll go ahead and turn off the live streaming. If there are questions here in the room, maybe I can field one or two of those questions.